Hello everyone, welcome back. I had a request from somebody that watched one of my other tutorials, the one that looked like a compact disc case with pictures on both sides. Slides in from the left and makes a rotation and stops. He asked me if I could do this with a cylinder, so I did it. This might be a two-part tutorial because it is kind of lengthy, but with that said, let's get started. Start out with bringing the fusion composition down. I am on a 30 frames per second timeline, so you might want to set your program up for that to make it easier to follow. Extend it to about 20 seconds. And let's head to Fusion. For those of you that don't know me, I have to use this on-screen keyboard due to health reasons. I put this description up here. Might want to write these values down. We'll need them as we go. And you want to make all 4 pictures the exact same size. These are 720 by 720, and you want to put a border around it like this too. So I'll get all that prepared ahead of time. Okay, we'll get going here. Should I start with a background node? Make it red or whatever color you'd like the top and bottom to be. You could change it at any time. .3D merge, camera, and render. We're going to use directional lights. They seem to be a little softer than a spotlight. But you can use either one if you'd like. So shift spacebar. Start typing directional. Make sure your merge is selected. And it'll connect right into it. I'm going to add 2. I'll get rid of that for now. Bring your merge up into the left viewer. Connect your background. Now you'll see it's red. Select your shape. Let's rename that cylinder so we can keep track. Up in the inspector with the cylinder node selected, go down the cylinder. Now here's where we have to put these two values in that I just showed you. And as you see in the left viewer, everything is inside that cylinder. Drag your render node into the right viewer. Select the camera node. Go to the inspector. Under translation, Z axis. We'll bring it out to about that size. We can always change it later. I'm going to change that color red to a little darker. Okay. Now we'll start bringing down our pictures. I numbered mine to keep track of them. Merge it into the background, and you'll see the first pictures on the cylinder. This part's pretty crucial because there is actually a seam in that cylinder. Select your media, which is your picture, and then select transform. Up in the inspectors where we need to put those other values. Right here, picture transform 0.27 by 0.69. Up in the inspector with the transform node selected, deselect use size and aspect. Under the center X value, rotate it to the right. That's quite long. For whatever reason, my values are not coming out the same as the last time. Select the cylinder, we have to rotate that. Under transform, in the inspector, under rotation, y-axis. Back to the picture transform. Up to center X again. You want to get that seam out in the front, that's where we have to start. You want to set that so your frame or under pictures partly in there. Back to the cylinder. Just to make sure we get these right, we're going to put that back in the left viewer. Bring down your second image. Merge it back into the merge one. Select your cylinder, rotate it. Okay, they're definitely too long. As you see, they're wrapped around more than half the cylinder. Select your second picture node. Add another transform. I don't have a middle mouse wheel to move around the 3D world over there. If you do, that is, I guess, the best way to do it. We're going to have to adjust these a little bit. For some reason, it's not the same value as I had the last time. Again, center X with the second second transform selected. We want to get these just about straight across. Don't forget to deselect that. Use size aspect. As you can see, when I'm moving it there, you can line it up right here. Okay, let's start out with that number. The y or x value, size 0.7. That's close enough for now. And bring down your third picture. Make a copy of the node or the transition node. Paste it there. Then merge it into the merge to. Go up in the inspector with the third transform. Select it and make sure your Y size is at 1.0. We don't want that different. Mine was just off a little bit. Now back in the inspector, under center X value, we have to rotate it because it's over top another picture now. Make it so there's a little bit of a gap there, and then we'll rotate the cylinder so we can see it up here. Back to the transform. I suggest overlapping these borders so they're not too thick between the pictures. Now bring down your fourth picture. Copy the transform node again. Paste. Connect them together, then merge the transform into the merge 3. Select that transform node. Back up in the inspector under center X. We'll rotate that to the front. As you can see here, we have that overlap. Let's go back to media 1. Should be this picture here. Bring them together so it hides that seam. Now we have to go on down the line and line them back up. Just keep hitting the cylinder node, and under rotation, the Y-axis will rotate it. Actually looks pretty good. Right in the center is our lights. So we'll get them set up now. I can only zoom in and out by using the drop down box. Okay, select the render 3D. And go up here to render type. Go to OpenGL render. I'm going to get this so we don't forget. If you can't see everything, up in the top right, that little button, you can open everything up. Down here under transparency, quick sort. That'll help it render out much better. Select lights, but don't select shadows. If you look at my merge down here, it will not render out shadows because we changed the render type. Okay. Let's name these lights so we know which side they're going to be on. You guys please keep in mind I'm doing everything with my mouth. I cannot talk and operate the control at the same time, so that does make it longer. All right, we'll start with the left light. Open the inspector under transform. Under translation, Z-axis. If you move it to the right, you'll see your light comes out. Also select use target. That way the light will always point at the subject. The X value will move it left to right. Y will move it up and down. And again, if you prefer spotlight, you can use that as well. Cast more shadows. Now we're going to controls. We'll turn the intensity down at least halfway. Now select the right light node. Same thing under transform, Z-axis. To me, these directional lights are a little softer than these spotlights. That's why I'm using them. Just get both the lights up lined up the way I'm going to have mine here. Some of this I'll probably cut out of the video. I didn't select use target on that one. See, now it's pointing toward where it belongs. And it's kind of a personal preference where you want to locate these lights. I'm going to turn the intensity up a little bit. Right now I got both mine set at 0.4, right close to that. Again, we can always change it later. Connect your render node into your media out. Drag that up in the right viewer. It won't be red anymore. Now there's many things we can do. I'm going to throw just a couple text on there. It's going to end up quite big and quite long if we continue to do every one individually. You can also add an ambient light to that too. We'll go ahead and do that just in case we need it. We'll select your Merge 3D one. Shift spacebar. Now that'll light up the whole area. We'll probably add just a little bit to that. Right around 0.2. Okay, bring a 2D text node down. Merge it into merge 4. Put the text you're liking in the box. Pick your font. Before I pick my font, I'm going to bring it around where I can see it. Go up to layout with the text node selected. Under center X. If you look close, it's going under that seam again, so we have to go all the way around the other way. I just want to show that so you see what's going on. I want to put that above this. This is the first picture. Now that it changed pictures, we had to rotate it back the other way. And again, back to layout. Under center, Y value, you can go up and down. Just move it up to the top there. And you can just keep going. You can also put them on the bottom. Same process. Now this I'm going to merge in to the first text node. That's just to keep this from ending up a mile long. Again, put the text you're liking in. Same process. Go to layout. Bring it around to the front, then lower it down. The best way to do this is, if you're going to keep adding to the top, build a node tree up here with the top text, and then do another one down here for the bottom, because you're going to have probably 8 altogether. You'll see at the end of the tutorial when I play it. But I'm not going to go through all that because it's just going to be a repeated process. I think we can go ahead and animate this now. Okay. 600 frames. Select your cylinder. We're not going to worry about setting this back. Whatever picture you want to start out with in the front, keyframe it. Rotation, Y-axis. We have to leave room for this to animate into the scene. And by the way, I am on a 30 frames per second, so you might want to set yours up. I'll try to mention that at the beginning of the tutorial as well. So I'm on frame 120. I'm going to rotate this about halfway. And you may have to, redo it to get it to where you like. One full rotation's probably a little bit too much. So we'll go a little over half. We can always change it. We'll go 3/4. Let's go to one viewer. We'll move ahead 60 frames to 180. If we weren't going to animate this coming into the scene, we could just use the set relative. That would keep it rotating. After, all you gotta do is get 4 keyframes, make one full 360 rotation, then you can use set relative in the spline. But it does not work correctly if you're going to animate it in. So, all right, we're on frame 180. Now we'll rotate to the next picture. And again, I'll be cutting some of this out of the video. Now we'll go to 240. So we're going to keyframe this all the way across. Rotate to the next picture. Like I say, you can keep adding text all the way around it, top and bottom. The easiest way is to copy and paste your text. That way you have your font and the size all the same. All you have to do is change the text. And now we want to go to frame 300. Again, rotate to the next one. There's no need to use any values on this. Just turn it till your next picture is right in the middle. Now we'll go to frame 360. Now to 420. Now to 480. And you don't really have to have your your fusion composition at 20 seconds. I just find that to be a pretty good number. I go to frame 540. And we'll leave it right there. Now if we play it, it's just going to continue to rotate. But we want it to stop at each picture. Let's select your, which would be your second keyframe, frame 120. Go up to your spline. If you don't see it all, up to the right here, that'll open that up. Select your cylinder. Go to zoom to fit. Select all. You can do it this way or highlight them all. I'm going to hit smooth. That'll bring them a little bit of an angle, but we have to take each one of those. I'm going to do it here, but once again, I'm going to cut the video and shorten it so you don't have to watch every one. I know there's a shortcut key for doing this, but I don't know what it is. This is extremely hard to do when you cannot use your hands. Okay, after you do that, if you hit T as in Tom on your keyboard, you're going to see something pop up right here to where we can extend those levers. Right here, we're going to run these up to about 60. We can always readjust them. See them getting longer. Okay, let's go up and see what it looks like, the edit page. And you can size this up here as well. I am going to put a reflection on the bottom. It might be in part 2. Actually, I ended up just putting a reflection right in this tutorial here. Okay, and I see it's transparent. Now we'll go ahead and animate it like the one was that the gentleman suggested that I did this one for. Let's select diffuse and composition. I'm going to bring it down about there. And close the spline window. We should be done with that. Everything looked good. Okay. Select your camera. Under translation, Y value, we're going to raise the camera up. Before doing so, we have to select the use target. Meant to do that earlier. Now when we rotate that Y value, the camera's going up, so it's making the cylinder look more symmetrical, so you can see the very top of it. Probably something like that. You can do whatever you'd like with yours. Okay, back to animating it. Up in the inspector, under position, X value, take it all the way to the left till it's out of the screen. Then set a keyframe. Go to 4 seconds. That's where our first keyframe is. Well, second keyframe. First one's at frame 0. Okay. Back to position X, rotate it to the right. It's easier to get it centered just by typing in 0.000. Well, let's see what it looks like. We'll render the cache so it plays smooth. It's real fast with the render set on OpenGL. We could play with the timing of the spline a little bit to get that a little more accurate, but you get the point. You can play with it and get it working how you'd like. Okay, I'm going to continue. We'll make the reflection, but this might be cut off here and be part 2. I'm not sure. Getting quite long. Okay, do the reflection. Select the cylinder node. Copy. Click a few times right here. Make sure nothing's selected. Paste instance. Okay, now we'll make the reflection. After you paste the instance, an instance is the exact replica of the node that you took it off of. Connect that into the blue one. Merge that into the instance. And type in transform 3D. As long as your instance is already selected, it should pipe right in. Then up in the inspector, under translation, Y value. As you see in my right viewer, let's go to one viewer. Take that to where you barely can see a crack between the two of them. Then click over here a few times to make sure nothing's selected. Get a transform. Connect it like that. Now, as you see here, it's not flip-flopped. It is not actually a mirrored image because it would be upside down. So we're going to change that now with this transform node. Go over to that under the flip, vertical or horizontal. No, I was right. Vertical. Now you see this is upside down. Now we want to make sure the opacity is the instance. So right click on opacity and then go down to the instance. As you see down here, it's fading to look more like it's reflecting off a table or something. Let's go somewhere there for now. And now you can see the reflection. Let it render out and play. The more time you spend in a spline, the smoother you can make this transition be. Some color back on it. You can see you still have the reflection. One last time, we'll render it out and we're all done. Well, there you go. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one. Last picture after it stopped, I could have rotated it to the right more, so the young boy's face would have been more visible. But with the tutorial, I just didn't think about it.